Issue of Kashmir, over which India and Pakistan have gone to war at least 3 times in the last 40 years. Once again, since the beginning of the last year, or should I say by the end of 1989, this Kashmiri movement once again gained its momentum, this time in its own special way, indigenously, and had nothing to do with the outside forces. This was the beginning of the last year that this issue came to the fore of the world and once again brought India and Pakistan to the brink of a fourth war. This has some leading and misleading facts, and that's precisely what we are here to discuss about. We have invited 2 guests to our program, Tabsra, to discuss the Kashmiri situation before it embroils another war in the region. On my right is Dr. Ghulam Nabi Fai, Executive Director with Kashmiri American Council for the last 2 consecutive terms. Also has been Chairman of the Kashmir Press International of London, and he holds quite a few other distinctions. We will not go into that detail, and we thank you, Doctor, for being with us. On my left is Dr. Hira Fotedar. He joined us from Sterling Heights, Michigan. He is connected with a Fortune 500 corporation as an engineer, also a director of media relations with another Kashmiri association known as Kashmiri Overseas Association. Both of these associations proclaim that they are involved to inform the public about the real situation in Kashmir in a better way. We will leave that judgment to you, the viewers, after we have talked to them. I will begin with Dr. Fotedar, and before we get into the nitty-gritty of the issue, why not throw a little light about the history of this issue? Dr. Fotedar, as I understand, this issue is, if not older than the movement of the freedom struggle of India, it is at least older than the legacy of partition and, I should say, the Pakistan movement. What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me, and I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the history. In 1929 was the year when Indian National Congress held its annual convention in Lahore. And in that convention, the Congress issued a call to all Indians to rise up against the British government. And it also called upon the residents of the princely states, and by the way, there were 584 princely states in India, to ask for popular governments, seek economic and social justice from their rulers. This had a significant effect on our patriots in Kashmir, and particularly in the mind of Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, who was the foremost leader of Kashmiri people. And he led many demonstrations, many marches against the rule of Maharaja, who was a Dogra. And he, along with Mir Wais, who was the leader of the Muslim people, formed a Muslim conference, All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference. And because of their struggle, Maharaja allowed elections to take place in 1934 and 36. However, as you know, what was happening in the Indian subcontinent, that the Muslim opinion was split between a theocratic Pakistan and a secular India. And a similar thing happened in Kashmir. And in 1939, Sheikh Abdullah split from the All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference. And he formed All Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, which was a secular in nature. Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah was very progressive. And he had a really brilliant and very advanced mind for his time. And he could not find agreement with the communally minded Muslim conference. And that's why he formed a separate party. Also, he was very acutely aware of a Jammu and Kashmir state which was multilingual, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious. For example, Jammu and Kashmir state has got 3 regions. In the south, we have Jammu, where Hindus are in majority. In the north, Ladakh, where Buddhists are in majority. And in the Kashmir, where Muslims are in majority. And he was very acutely aware of this diversity, and he felt that we needed a party where all of us, Hindu, Muslim, Sikhs, could join in the freedom struggle against the Maharaja and against the British.
Would you say that the Hindus were equally partnered with Muslims against Dogra Raj?
Yes, they were, because the Hindus, for example, Mr. P.N. Bazaz, who was a right-hand man of Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, had a significant role in developing the manifesto of the National Conference, which was called Naya Kashmir. And this manifesto, if you read it, it was very, very progressive. It called for a national economic plan. It called for women's charter. It called for human rights, guaranteed human rights, equality for all, freedom for conscience, freedom for religion. It was a very progressive, secular, democratic platform. Now, the interesting thing is that the Indian National Congress supported Naya Kashmir, but Muslim League opposed it. So that's where the whole story of the Kashmir political thing begins, with the emergence of Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah as the leader of the Muslims in Kashmir through the...
Why would you say that the Sheikh Abdullah split it from this Naya Kashmir movement?
He split from the Muslim conference.
I see.
Because he felt that the Muslim conference was very narrow-minded. It was communally minded, because only Muslims can be members of the Muslim conference. Okay.
Would you tell me a little bit about this? I really don't know that far back. And let's get this historical background of the Kashmir issue out of the way so that we can go on. And I will ask both of my guests to be precise and brief in their answers, because we have a limited time.
Right.
So basically, the history of Kashmir is one, so it may have many interpretations. To me, the history of the problem of Kashmir goes back to 1846. And the year is very significant in the history of Kashmir. It's known as the Treaty of Amritsar. That was the time when the Dogra, or the Ghulam Singh, who was the great-grandfather of the Hari Singh, who bought the state of Jammu and Kashmir from the British East India Company. So then, as early as 1931, in fact, the day, July 13, 1931, is very historical in the history of Kashmir. That was the day when dozens of people of Kashmir, they were killed in front of the central jail of Kashmir, because there was a revolt against the Dogra in Kashmir. I agree with Dr. Fotedar that the people of Kashmir, they wanted to have their own rule in Kashmir. Not only in 1846, not only in 1931, even before the partition in 1946, which is known as the Quit Kashmir movement in Kashmir. So the whole movement was against the ruler of Kashmir, because the ruler of Kashmir, Ghulam Singh, he was not a Kashmiri in that sense. He was from Punjab. So Kashmiris would like to have their own indigenous movement, the own indigenous ruler, the own indigenous rule in Kashmir. So that's why at the time of the partition of India, there were 2 options given to the people in India and Pakistan, either to accede to India or Pakistan. But the princely states, including the people of Kashmir, they were given 3 options: to accede to India or Pakistan, or to remain independent. So then the question arises when the Maharaja, Hari Singh, he acceded to India.
Yes.
And you see, when he acceded to India, it can give a very parallel to what did his grandfather do in Kashmir. Because his grandfather, he bought the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And the Hari Singh, he sold the state of Jammu and Kashmir because he acceded to India. And the parallel was that both Ghulam Singh as well as Hari Singh, they did it against the wishes and the will of the people of Kashmir. Because both the acts of Ghulam Singh as well as Hari Singh, they were colonial in nature.